In this episode of Supply Chain Now Radio, Scott Luton, Managing Partner of Talent Stream and Executive Vice President of Apex Atlanta, discusses key supply chain trends including average salaries for supply chain professionals is on the rise, supply chain certifications are in demand by employers, business analytics in supply chain, Gartner supply chain rankings, and hashtag supply chain city.
4 things of the top things to know in supply chain now. So the first one, according to a recent Wall Street Journal article, the average salary for supply chain professionals, y'all think that's gone up or gone down? Any guesses?
I'm saying up. I'm going up.
I'm going for up.
That's right. So the average salary for supply chain professionals in 2017 rose 4.1%, according to the Institute for Supply Management, ISM. Factors included a stronger emphasis on buyers to better negotiate contracts and find cost savings, especially, of course, increasing freight and raw material costs, right? Planners are in demand as a greater priority on forecasting, which Bo was talking about pre-show. Streamlining production processes is a big priority on that. Premium is being paid for true transportation SMEs, given all the challenges ranging from the capacity crunch to talent management to costs. Supply chain organizations are also fighting for top technology talent as business intelligence, advanced analytics, and all other things I don't know about, and many other technologies continue to change the space. So the supply chain 2018 is not like 1988. That's the year we're going to pick on today, Lee.
And then list, I would imagine that it's kind of a gender neutral list.
It's got to be a gender neutral
right?
list. Absolutely.
These aren't skills that require brute strength or certain attributes. This could be anybody can take these roles, right?
Absolutely. And then, as we always like to say, we can't attack the skills gap without attacking the gender gap. So opportunity for all in supply chain. So on a side note, companies are also willing to pay more for professionals with supply chain certification. So of course, Apex, our CSCP, our CLTD, and our CPIM are widely recognized. In fact, studies have shown that companies pay 20% or more in additional comp for professionals with these certifications, right? And for our audience, of course, we got to give a quick shout out to our new and upcoming boot camps on both the CSCP and the CLTD, which are going to kick off at Georgia Tech Supply Chain Logistics Institute in July of 2018. If you want more information on that, shoot us a note to evp@apexatlanta.org. But bottom line, you want to invest in your career, your professional development, take home a bigger check, but more importantly, secure and advance your career path. Okay, so that was a big one to lead off with, right, Lee?
It was fantastic, Scott.
Oh, man, you're full of compliments this morning. Whatever Lee had.
You're killing it.
In his coffee,
you're just knocking it out of the park.
All right, so number 2, top things to know in supply chain now. So speaking of trends shaping the talent market, the continued rise of analytics in supply chain is not going to stop. Resistance is futile, Star Trek reference number 1. We featured Richard Sharp, CEO of Competitive Insights on a SCNR webinar earlier this week. Competitive Insights is a leading supply chain technology firm based right here in Atlanta. They were named a Gartner Cool Vendor a couple years ago, which also comes with a free door prize. According to their research, last month, Amazon was advertising 5,429 jobs. Can anyone tell me or take a guess how many of those were in the fields of software development and analytics?
I'm going to guess 50%.
Oh, Bo, you've been reading my notes. You're absolutely right.
It was not a guess.
Almost.
I was reading ahead.
That's right. He was reading ahead. Almost 50% were in the fields of software development analytics. So amazing. Good old Jeff B. and the team continue to double down on big data, and it also speaks volumes about where we're headed. This is not a flavor of the month for sure. Okay, so number 3, the Gartner ratings. I know everybody's on the edge of their chair waiting for the Gartner rankings to come out for supply chain performance, right? Right, Bo?
Absolutely.
That or the college football preseason rankings. So for this is the 14th year in a row that Gartner has released these supply chain rankings. Unilever retained number 1, so it defended its trophy, largely based on a perfect score in corporate social responsibility. And they're doing some really neat things in the digitization of supply chain, especially in robotics. But on the top 25 list, we have the Coca-Cola Company, obviously the Atlanta heavyweight coming in at 22, and The Home Depot rejoined the top 25 rankings after a 3-year hiatus. So kudos to both the Coca-Cola Company and the Home Depot for that recognition. So innovation, of course. Innovation is alive and well. Change is not stopping. It's only increasing. And a big part of the Gartner rankings is centered on innovation and what these supply chain teams are doing. So on that note, we arrive at our fourth top thing to know in supply chain now. So the hashtag Supply Chain City of Atlanta, Georgia adds another powerful cog to the engine that has helped make Georgia the number one state to do business in for how many years in a row, Jason?
5 years.
5 years in a row, 5 years running. So Georgia Pacific recently announced that they will be investing $5 million to $7 million to set up a new supply chain innovation center, Point A, right here in Atlanta.
Have they been invited on the show?
You're reading ahead as well. They have been invited, and you know what? We've got some
What?
big news here
Big
about
news?
big news and about 3 bullet points.
Can't wait. That's what happens when you don't read ahead.
That's right. But for those of y'all that I was telling a buddy of mine about Georgia Pacific, and he asked me how their trains were running, and let's fix that real quick. So Georgia Pacific is one of the world's leading manufacturers of tissue, pulp, paper, packaging, building products, a number of different things. Brawny, Dixie cups, the whole Dixie brand, those are Georgia Pacific products. So really large, successful company. And it's great to see these types of companies really investing in supply chain to continue to drive innovation. So this collaborative center, Point A, will feature a diverse group of organizations and individuals to tackle some of supply chain's most challenging issues. There's no shortage there, right? Some of the early committed participants have been named Chick-fil-A, Delta Airlines, Genuine Parts Company, Grainger, Siemens, and others. But I think the neat thing about Point A, about these types of corporate initiatives, is they're going to be striking a balance, a very diverse group of folks that are going to participate in the Point A Innovation Center. So they're going to bring on startups, members of academia, and other folks from different walks of life that's going to help give a wide view of perspective on how we can tackle some of these challenges. So that's neat to see. And of course, looking forward to some of the developments that Point A is going to be driving for the supply chain space. So neat to have that in Atlanta. Just one more big win. And Lee, you were asking a question earlier.
Yes.
So we did get some good news this week. So we're excited to share today that Kevin Heath, Chief Procurement Officer for Georgia Pacific, and Ben Harris with the Metro Atlanta Chamber is going to be joining us for a special Supply Chain Now radio episode next month, where we're going to be learning a lot more about Point A.
Good stuff. And why is it important to have that hashtag Supply Chain City?
That is a great question as well. So the chamber, but not just the Metro Atlanta Chamber, but a wide group of supporters, we're all looking to really tout all the things that make Atlanta such a special supply chain capital. We've joked here around how it's supply chain capital of the East Coast, and sometimes supply chain capital of the U.S. and maybe the universe. But really, in so many different ways, from a technology standpoint, an infrastructure standpoint, a talent standpoint, everything that makes Atlanta what it is a supply chain super competitor. So it's really important to use that hashtag so that we can, as business people and professionals that are in this space, we can tout it and make sure we're projecting the right image.
I voted for Galaxy, but
Well, Jason, you got your own hashtag you want us to be talking about. We'll learn about later, right?
right.
And
Lots of hashtags.
we were just, as you know, Scott, Stone and I were just at the FinTech South event at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium last week, I think. And they have a hashtag also, FinTech. They're trying to be Atlanta as the FinTech capital.
Okay.
Because, as people may or may not know, 70% of all financial transactions in the United States touch a Georgia firm.
So hashtag FinTech,
FinTech South or FinTech Atlanta. What
right?
was it? Do you remember, Stone? It was FinTech something.
I think it's just FinTech in general.
Yeah. Hey, so we get 7% of the transactions. It can be Fin if we need it.
That's right.
Well, that concludes our top things to know in supply chain now. Of course, that's never an exhaustive list, but those 4 things are what were on front pages of many supply chain publications and between the ears of many supply chain professionals in the last